really pumpkin?
What was that?
It's really pumpkin?
I think so. I think that's what his name was. Let me see. Yeah, Jose. Oh, Pumpkin. Pumpkin. I thought it was pumpkin. That would have been really funny. Okay. State broad topics we're talking about are state capability, so security, policy management, effective delivery, accountabilities, transparency, participation in civil society. So, is our government currently transparent?
No.
No. It's become even less so. We don't even know who is going in and out of the White House these days. Whereas in the last administration, they opened all those records. Responsiveness, regulation, rights, equality, anti-poverty, and corruption. Okay. Main question in public administration and management for development. What are the roles of government and public bureaucracies in development? What public bureaucracies do or are supposed to do? How should they function? Why they function well or badly? How can we make them perform better? What are the most effective or efficient ways to deliver some public policies? How policies should be delivered and to whom? And then what are the roles of international organizations in development? So this isn't particularly geared to our country because our country doesn't use as many NGOs or they may have them, but they're directed more outward than they're probably directed inward. Public administration development reviews and assesses practice of public administration and management at local, regional, national, and international levels. It's a focus on development in less industrialized and transitional economies. So we definitely are not a transitional economy. And attention to investigations of all phases of public policy formulation and implementation. So part of the reason, part of what is we want, and we have this idea about rule of law and what the United States used to be a lot about was trying to assist other countries in developing a standard rule of law that would govern the people and enable them to have faith in their government. So in a country like Somalia, I will guarantee you a lot of people don't have faith in the government because it could be changing all the time based upon who has more authority or more power, and there are not these structures set up. A country like North Korea has a dictator. Now that actually is a pretty stable rule of law. It's not necessarily the rule of law we would want to live under, but it's pretty stable in that sense. Although there's a lot of corruption involved there because half their population is starving, while the other half, while the top tier are living high off the hog. Most downloaded articles, you don't need to know that. Challenges, trends, and lessons. State governance capacity and concern globally. Many major economy societies cope with unprecedented public policy challenges such as environmental degradation, HIV/AIDS, rural outmigration and urban sprawl, managing change in multi-ethnic contexts, managing the balance between over-centralization and de-evolution, challenges of public service delivery, especially to the increasing numbers of those marginal to growth, and public service ethics and trust. Okay. So, do we have environmental degradation in this country? We do, it's a big issue. Climate change, we're gonna watch a little video on it in a little bit. We are having migration issues, okay? So we have urban sprawl. What, have you noticed a difference in downtown San Francisco recently? Are there a lot more buildings going up? Okay. I just saw a documentary on a building in China that they're building, or they built. It is the tallest building in Shanghai. Has anybody been to Shanghai? Well, let's put it this way, there are a lot of people in Shanghai. You're never alone, okay? And so there are over 23 million people in Shanghai, And that's probably just an estimate, not an actual number. So they're building this building that will be able to house 30,000 people within this spire. It's like over 2,000 feet tall, okay? And it's basically a city within a city. That's how they're going to manage their urban sprawl. Now, if you go to Shanghai, it makes New York look teeny. There's skyscraper after skyscraper after skyscraper, and it's pretty intense, okay? Hot issues globally, corruption. Okay, we're dealing with corruption in this country right now. We don't know what our president is doing. It's not my president, but we don't know what the idiot in the White House is doing. He is still managing his own businesses. Could that possibly be a conflict of interest? Yeah. Could that be hugely problematic? And could that affect us greatly? Sure, if he makes a decision based upon his business interests that will make him a lot of money, well, it could have a bad effect on us. And he's made some decisions that potentially are problematic. Decentralization. So the idea that we are going to allow others to do what they want so that there's no accountability. Poverty reduction policy management, PPP, I'm not sure what PPP is. Government, NGO, civil society relations, okay? So in a lot of countries, especially developing countries, there is a conflict between governments and NGOs. NGOs are usually from richer industrialized countries that have this rule of law, and you come in and you want to provide services to the people, to help them up out of poverty. The problem is you have to grease some wheels, or you have to deal with various regulations, or you have to get various permits in order to operate, and it costs money to get those permits, and it's problematic, and they put you through a lot of hoops, okay? Failed and post-conflict states, the transition. So, you know, Syria's been going through 7 or 8 years worth of war. The country's particularly devastated. What's gonna happen when the war is finally over? All of that infrastructure is going to need to be rebuilt. Who's going to pay for it? Syria doesn't have the money. Where's it going to come from?
United Nations.
Pardon?
The United Nations.
All right. Who's the biggest contributor to the United Nations?
Used to be United States.
It's supposed to be the United States, actually, for some reason. But it is, okay? When they pay their bill, I should say. Okay. But you know, we didn't really start the war. Now, Russia may pay for some of the infrastructure because Syria has some oil, although I don't know why Russia needs more oil. They have just enough oil that they need, okay? Public sector performance and management, benchmarking, evaluation and learning, outsourcing, etc. Okay, so obviously, does everybody know what benchmarking is? It's basically